I'll be walking through setting up a gradebook in Moodle. Here we are on my course shell homepage, and you can see that I've created 3 assignments here. Now we need to add all the grade items that are not activities created directly in Moodle. To do so, I'll click on Grades in the lower left-hand side in the Administration block. By default, you'll be brought to the Grader report, so to switch over to the administrative interface of the Gradebook, we will click on the top drop-down menu and choose Categories and Items below Setup. Here we can see the overall structure of our gradebook. The very first thing we want to do is change the aggregation type, or how the overall gradebook is calculated. To do so, we'll click on the Edit at the very top of your gradebook, so you should see the course title, and all the way to the right there should be an Edit drop-down, and we'll choose Edit Settings. The second option is your aggregation type, and it should be defaulting to Simple Weighted Mean of Grades. We will change that to Natural. Natural is the best of both worlds because you can make a very simple gradebook or a very advanced and it will meet your requirements. So we will click on Save Changes. So here you'll see our course total now says 140 and we have a new weights column. The weights column is the representation of the assignment out of the course total point value. For example, Essay 1 is worth 15 points, and 15 points out of an overall 140 points is 10.714%. And this weighting will be adjusted as we add grade items, in which you'll see as we move forward. So you'll see there's 2 buttons at the bottom here, Add a Category and Add a Grade Item. If you recall from the overview of Gradebook video, Add a Category is a way to add a folder to a gradebook and has actually no value. So you can see at the very top here, Moodle Basics 101 Training Shell has a folder icon to the left. This is basically one giant category for our gradebook. We are going to want to add a grade item 99% of the time. So I'll click on Add a Grade Item. Here the only 2 boxes we need to fill out is the name and the maximum grade. Once we've done that, we can click on Save Changes, and you'll see now I have grade item 1. One way to tell the difference between grade items and activities is grade items will always have this gray icon, whereas activities will have a colorful icon. Also, if you notice, the weighting column has adjusted to the new course total of 150 points. So we can continue adding grade items as needed. Once again, it's just a matter of putting the name and the maximum grade. In this case, I'll make it an extreme example and make it out of 900 points. And here we can see your weights have been adjusted to a total of 100, and grade item 2 is worth 85% of the overall grade, and the overall course is worth 1,050 points. If you'd like to move an item, for example, if I wanted to put the final exam at the very bottom of my gradebook, you'll click on the up and down arrows to the left of the final exam assignment module. It's a single click, and then you're presented with the following screen of a bunch of white spaces in between every area of your gradebook. So to move it to the very bottom, I would click on the very bottom white space. And you can see that the final exam has moved to the very bottom. So up until this point, we've changed the aggregation type, we've created grade items, and we've moved items. This will be the basic setup of 99% of gradebooks. Now let's move to some more advanced options. So let's say we did have a 900 point grade item here and we didn't want it to be worth 85% of the overall course grade. We can change these weightings by checking the box to the left of the weight and typing in our own point value there. I'm saying I want it to be worth 10% of your overall grade, and I will save those changes. You'll see also our weights have been adjusted to total 100, and now if you look at our weighting column, all non-overridden weights will represent the remaining 90% of the course grade. And to take this one step further, if we wanted to group multiple grade items together, we can add a category. So for example, if I wanted to add the final exam and the midterm together, I can click on Add a Category. So as I said earlier, we're creating basically a folder here. So for the category name, I'm going to call it Final and Midterm. For the aggregation type, since it's a category, it's an overall folder, we want to change the way it's calculated. We'll once again use Natural, and we'll save those changes. Now in our gradebook, you'll see I have all my grade items and a new folder or category here called Final and Midterm, as well as a total. It's currently worth 0 points because there's nothing inside that category. So let's move the final exam and the midterm into that category. So I'll click on the left up and down arrows. Now I'll choose the white box that is indented slightly to the right underneath the final and midterm category. And let's do the same thing for the midterm. So this is where things can get very interesting. At the very top level of final and midterm, you can see it's worth 75% of the overall weights. But within the category itself, the two items midterm and final exam are still worth out of 100 points, the 60-40 split there of 50 and 75 of a course total of 125. If we wanted to actually weight what the both midterm and final exam represent in our course, we can check the box to the left of the category and we can change that to 50. So then the midterm and the final exam will be worth 50% of our overall grade, and click on Save Changes. Now if you notice, we have the category worth 50% of our grade, we have grade item 2 worth 10% of our grade, and then the two remaining grade items split the 40% that's left over to represent our course total of 1050. This should be as advanced as the gradebook gets, but I will show you one other commonly used feature, which is if you were to group multiple grade items into a single category and you wanted to drop the lowest 2 quizzes or however many number quizzes of that category. So I just added a quiz category, and within there I've inputted 4 grade items worth 100 total points. This is also using the natural aggregation method. To drop the lowest one in this example, we will click on the Edit drop-down all the way to the right of the overall category, and we'll choose Edit Settings. We will click on Show More, and you'll see the option to drop the lowest. So here I'll type the number 1 and click Save Changes. So now if you notice, the quiz category total includes dropping the lowest one value, totals now 300 as opposed to 400. The only pitfall here is if you've only graded one quiz, that will be the lowest value until you've graded another quiz. So Moodle will dynamically update as you grade the quizzes. Which brings me to my last point. If you are going to be grading in Moodle, you have to give a 0 if an assignment is not completed. Otherwise, Moodle assumes the assignment has never been taken and doesn't include it in the overall calculation. As you can see here, we've created a gradebook that was very basic that became very advanced and complex. Lastly, to input grades into your gradebook, we will be using the Grader Report, which we can get to by using the top drop-down menu and choosing Grader Report. Here you can see all of our grade items and activities that we've created, as well as the various categories. To actually input any grades, we will click Turn Editing On, and we can type directly in the box there. Once again, I'll remind you that Moodle recommends grading actual activities in the activity themselves and grade items on the Grader Report. Once you're finished, you can click on Save Changes on the lower left-hand side, and you're done.